What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave, and we are back with another video. So I'm going to recap a little bit of the fight between Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. But I really wanted to make this video to respond to the reactions of everybody, all of the boxing fans, everybody on social media, and just how I feel about this whole social media influencer and their place in boxing, and how that correlates with, professional fighters and stuff like that, and what these two fighters should do moving forward, and what I expect other influencers that are on social media, what's going to happen. As far as the fight, if you were here, I did do live commentary last minute, wasn't expecting to do it, but if you were here the other night, I thought that Tommy Fury won the fight. Okay. I know I picked Jake Paul to win. I thought it was a close fight. But I thought overall Tommy Fury was consistent throughout every round. It was pretty obvious that he was the better boxer between the two. He was the smarter fighter. He had the better technique. He had the better game plan. He had the better timing. He had the better defense. He had the better setups. Overall, he was the better boxer. Jake did well. He landed some big shots. He did score a knockdown. It was a very competitive fight. I thought at the very end, I believe that I thought it was gonna still go to Jake Paul or it being a draw. But they gave it to Tommy. I wasn't upset with it. I thought Tommy won 5 rounds to 3. Now, I don't know I actually never went back and wrote the scoring down, because just because I scored it 5 rounds to 3 for Tommy doesn't necessarily mean I had him winning, because I realized that there were two 10-8 rounds based on point deductions. So depending on who I gave the round to, it could have still been a draw. It could have still went whatever way it would have gone based on scoring. All right. I don't remember if I gave Jake Paul one of those rounds that was a 10-8 round, as far as the point deductions. I'm not doing all that, because it was never really meant to be serious like that. I gave you my pick. I didn't do a breakdown. I wasn't going to do all that. It's entertainment. It's not real boxing. So we enjoy it. For the people that are watching it, it's just entertainment. And yes, professional boxing is entertainment too. High level, world class, undisputed fights, unification, championship fight level boxing is all entertainment. But for this, it's just fun to me. For the few that I do watch. I'm not into all of these guys, but I've been covering Jake Paul fights just because I'm a fan of his opponents, right? I didn't know who Jake Paul was before he knocked out Nate Robinson. I never heard of him on YouTube. As popular as he is, I don't follow a lot of YouTubers that are on there that's famous for doing crazy stuff. I don't even know what he does. There's a lot of gamers that are famous. There's a lot of people that do music, whatever. I didn't know who he was. But once he fought Tyron Woodley, who I was a big fan of while he was in UFC, that's when I started to talk about his fights and give you my thoughts and expectations on the upcoming fights. All right, then he fought Anderson Silva, who's one of my all-time favorites. And then now he had went and fought Tommy Fury, who I never cared for at all. I was actually rooting for Jake Paul to win the fight, because I just don't care for Tommy Fury, So I had it 5 rounds to 3 for Fury. Fury proved to me that he was a better boxer than I thought he was before the fight. But at the end of the day, he just beat a YouTube influencer who has never fought a professional boxer in his boxing career. Tommy was the first. Anderson Silva has professional boxing experience, but he is not an active professional boxer. He's an MMA guy. All right. But I thought Anderson Silva skill wise was the best fighter that he fought in a boxing ring leading up to the fight. Fury never was really impressed with him fighting the other fighters that he's fought. But he clearly, and this is no hate because I'm going to give him his props, he clearly was a better boxer than I thought he was after watching the fight. But that was based on him beating Jake Paul. Tommy Fury still has not fought a good professional boxer yet, you know? So with that being said, and moving forward, and the main point of my video, I'm seeing people reactions, right? It's based on comments that are left in my videos, comments, that I've seen in other people's videos, seen on social media, Twitter, such and such. People feel some sort of relief now that Jake Paul has lost a fight. Like he got exposed. Like people believe that he actually got exposed by losing this fight against Tommy Fury, who's a real boxer. I guess because there's been a lot of boxers and a lot of other people that have been calling out Jake Paul since the Nate Robinson knockout, saying, do that to a real fighter, do that to a real fighter. So he fought a real fighter and he got outboxed. Close fight. It was a split decision, but he was able, he lost the fight. So people feel like he got exposed, and I don't believe so. All right. I don't believe him. I don't believe that he got exposed. And this is not me defending him like I like the guy. I really don't care for him. I'm neutral when it comes to him because whatever he do, that's his own business. I don't feel like he's in the way of boxing. I feel like boxing, professional boxing, high level boxing, championship boxing is the problem. I feel like what all of these guys, the Paul brothers, KSI, and all these guys, I feel like what they're doing is their own business. You know what I'm saying? We've always had exhibitions. We've always had celebrity boxing. Okay? It's just that the money is bigger now because a lot of these guys were ultra famous before. They had a big social media influence over the years. So now that they're doing it, it's bigger because they're making so much money from it. And they're actually fighting real boxers. It's no different from when Shaq fought De La Hoya or Shane Mosley fought De La Hoya or I think I remember watching on MTV years ago, like Sticky Fingers losing to some dude on MTV. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been so many celebrity boxing fights that I've seen almost pretty much my whole life. This is no different from what it was before. It's just that back then, it wasn't taken literally. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be the headliner of an actual boxing card. Like, these guys are fighting with professionals, like with a professional record. Whether or not they're fighting professional boxers, they're fighting with that's the only difference. They're fighting with a pro record, and they're having pro boxers and championship level fighters fight on their undercard. Bottle Jack for Junior Makabu on the undercard of Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. That was for a cruiserweight title. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like what they do should affect what's happening in boxing. As long as boxing gives me quality fights, which they're not really doing well right now, on as far as the mainstream fighters, like the big names, the big fights, we're not really getting much of that. That's what's important to me. What Jake Paul and his brother and all these other guys do, that's their own business. But I don't think Jake Paul losing the fight to Fury does anything. If anything, it helps him. Because if Jake Paul won the fight, they might have ran it back anyway, right? Because some people would have challenged, it would have been a disputable win, right? But if he had legit won against Tommy Fury, you know what people would have said? They were like, yeah, well, Tommy Fury is a pro boxer, but he didn't fight anyone. He was only hyped up because he's a Fury. Yeah, you know, his brother is one of the best fighters in the world, in Tyson Fury, and that would have been that. You know, people would have just still been saying he's a fraud. You know, you would have had real boxers calling him out still. You know, I mean, look, there were people in the comments on my video saying that this is all leading to Jake Paul fighting Bottle Jack for a title, which was the WBC title, which the WBC added the winner of this fight to their rankings. So a lot of people said that the play to fight Bottle Jack was already fixed before the Makabu fight, so Jake Paul could win a title. People already theorizing, saying that Jake Paul was going to take a dive. I mean, I'm sorry, Jake Paul, not a Bottle Jack would take a dive against Jake Paul, so Jake Paul can become a champion. This is what I mean. It's never going to stop. It was never going to stop. But now that he lost, but he did well. He actually knocked down. He knocked Tommy Fury down just like he knocked down Anderson Silva. The only difference is he lost on the cards. So all they do is going to run a rematch. This guy, the rematch is going to be bigger than this fight we just got. And look how big this fight was. Look who was at that arena. You had Mike Tyson, Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury, Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo was there. You have big time people flying out to Saudi Arabia, Devin Haney, to help promote this fight or just be at the fight ringside. They thought that this fight was important enough to fly out to Saudi Arabia to watch. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather, TBE, had a fight the night before, his first fight in the UK, and nobody showed up. Who was sitting ringside at the Floyd fight? I'm sure there might have been people there. But did anybody care that Floyd Mayweather was fighting? No. Instead, everybody leading up to the fight talking about it's fight week, it's Jake Paul, Tommy Fury fight week. I didn't even know Floyd was fighting that day until that morning. I didn't even know. And it never crossed my mind to turn on my computer and do a live commentary on Floyd fighting someone that I've never heard of. You know how many fights I woke up and found out Floyd fought? Since Conor McGregor, I think maybe 2 or 3 of his fights, I woke up, I'm like, oh shit, Floyd fought today. That's crazy. It goes to show you that I'm not saying Floyd isn't relevant. But what I am going to say is that Jake Paul is more relevant in boxing right now than Floyd Mayweather. I mean, as far as like, if they're the both of them are fighting, people are going to be talking about the Jake Paul fight more than Floyd Mayweather. Now, when Floyd was relevant, absolutely not. There's nobody that was more relevant than Floyd because the numbers show. He smashed the pay-per-view numbers. But as far as these exhibitions, no one cared. And the only exhibition that people really cared since Conor McGregor was Floyd fighting another Paul brother, Logan Paul. And that's my point. You guys are looking at this Jake Paul loss as if this is the end, like Tommy Fury ended this whole YouTube thing. No, he didn't. Didn't Logan Paul lose to KSI before getting the Floyd Mayweather fight? Didn't he lose a fight and still landed a Floyd Mayweather fight? This loss doesn't mean anything. All it means is bigger money for the rematch. That's all it means. Because it was a competitive fight. And if it's true that Jake Paul just made $30 million to take this fight, it's even more of a reason why it's not over. Because if he got $30 million for this fight against Tommy Fury, who basically is unknown outside of him being a Fury, Jake Paul really sold the fight. They both sold it because of their back and forth on social media and stuff. The cancellation, the buildup was crazy. But Jake Paul is the people why people watch this fight hoping he would lose. It's not over. $30 million. He's reaching Fury. He's reached Fury, Wilder, Joshua, Canelo territory as far as purses. He's there. He's at the top. Floyd Mayweather too. He's in that area. He's in that area now. I mean, of course, yeah, guys like Canelo made a little bit more and Joshua probably made more. I mean, their highest purse. But what I'm saying is Floyd's in a different space because Floyd and Manny Pacquiao reached over 100 million, right? But I'm just talking about top tier earnings per fight. Jake Paul is in that area code at this point. So it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And for the people that are upset, look, man, it's prize fighting. It's all about the money. I just made a video the other day about Deontay Wilder. He was out there in Saudi Arabia. You know, at this point, you're in your mid-30s or late 30s. You're looking for an exit plan. You know? Now, I think the most money he can make is probably fighting Anthony Joshua. Hopefully, we can get that fight. I don't know how that is going to work out, but you're looking for an exit plan. You know, at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you guys really expect here. You know, I think that as long as we're getting quality fights in boxing, then what Jake Paul and Tommy should do, what they decide to do, it shouldn't affect Crawford and Spence or Ryan Garcia and Tank or Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder or Joshua and Fury or any other big fight we wanted that we never got. It should not play any effect on what we get as boxing fans. I think a lot of us blame guys like Jake Paul because we're not getting what we want. But we see another guy that could just come out of nowhere and make so much money quickly in the sport of boxing. I think a lot of fighters are bitter because Jake Paul can just come in the game and make more money in one fight than some other fighters do in their entire careers. I'm not a fan of Jake Paul. Like, I don't like him. All right, but I don't feel like what he does plays any kind of like negative effect in the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing is the problem. The sanctioning bodies is the problem. The inconsistencies, like what's going on with Conor Ben, that whole mess, that's the problem. People pop dirty. Some get suspended. Others don't. You know, governing bodies, sanctioning bodies, different drug testing organizations. None of it's consistent. Some guys get suspended for 2 to 3 years. Others don't get any suspensions or get 6 months. Some guys pop dirty. Look at the promoters. All these promoters have spoken out against drug testing. But when it's their fighter, they're defending them. It's always inconsistent. The problem with boxing is boxing. It's not organized at all. It's a hustle. If we being real, it's a hustle. That's why you got guys like Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. They ain't chasing them belts. I told y'all all the time, those two are entertainers. They're fighting at a high level, but the guys that's fighting at the highest level at 135, the guys that's got the belts like Devin Haney, or guys like Shakur Stevenson that just moved up, those guys are champions. Lomachenko, all those guys, yeah, they're fighting at a higher level. They're fighting the best. But at the end of the day, it's all about the money. It's all about the fame. To Tank and Ryan, they taking the same approach that these YouTubers are making. Who has the most social media influence? Who's putting more asses in the seats? They don't care about how many belts you're holding. That's what they're doing. They're doing the same thing, but they're pro boxers. They're really good. They're real fighters. But at the same time, they're not chasing legacy. They're chasing the money, the bag. These other fighters are chasing legacy, and I love it. I respect them the most. But I understand at the end of the day, it's about how much money you can make. I can't get mad at guys that want to get paid. Can't get mad at them because they're trying to provide for their family. And this is a cutthroat business. There's no love here. There's no trust here. There's no loyalty here. So I understand this YouTube influence and stuff is what it is. Jake Paul ain't going nowhere. That loss didn't mean nothing. All that loss did was build up a rematch. Where if he got 30 million for real, like if he's not bluffing and he's really serious about that, he's at least getting another 30 mil for a rematch. You think Saudi Arabia wouldn't have him come back? Are y'all crazy? He's getting at least 30 million for a rematch. At least. They're definitely trying to be a powerhouse right now. Saudi Arabia. They are a powerhouse right now. Moving forward. Not the Garden. You know, not Vegas. Saudi Arabia. Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury needs to become the Ryans, the Tanks, and the YouTube influencers, the KSIs. I don't want to disrespect Ryan Tank. Let me take that back. I don't want to disrespect them because they're real fighters. It's just that they're real fighters that I believe are entertainers. They're more entertainers than working on legacy. Let me say that. But when it comes to influencers, Tommy Fury needs to work that angle. Why? Because he is already the guy that shut the mouth of the YouTube influencer that swore he can beat most of these boxers. You know, so run with that. Don't go straight to fighting the high-ranked guys at 175 or at cruiserweight. You don't belong there. Become the YouTube guy killer. Beat Jake Paul again. Possibly beat his brother. Beat KSI. Beat all of those guys. Be that guy that beats the influencers. You beat one. And if you can beat him again, beat the other guys. Become that guy. Build up your record. If you got 7 million in this fight, they saying you got 7 million. If you got 7 million, shit. You got 7 million to beat who? To fight who? What? Jake Paul? You didn't even have to fight a real fighter? A real ring fighter? Why stop? Get the bag. Go to the next guy. I don't know all of them, but you know who I'm talking about. Beat the brother, beat KSI, beat any of those dudes that's on YouTube. And then at some point, maybe you'll say, all right, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight a ring fighter at one point. I want to become champion. But now you already have, you expose yourself to a different group of people. People already knew you being related to Tyson Fury, but didn't really respect you. But now people respect you because you got to expose your real boxing skill. And then you also got the social media YouTuber people that are fans of Jake Paul. They saw you fight for real and beat Jake Paul. So why not keep fighting those fighters? Getting millions per fight. You just got millions for this one. So keep that rolling. That's it. It should not have any effect on what's going on in the real boxing world. In fact, it might be a good thing because some of these other fighters that's been on undercards already, like Devin Haney, he was already on the undercard of one of these fights when he was with Matchroom. One of them Logan Paul fights, one of them fights he was already on the undercard for. Keep getting on those undercards. Battle Jack Macabre was a great fight. Probably the best fight of the weekend, in my opinion. One of the best fights of the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Keep throwing guys on the undercards. Having real championship fights. It's not getting in the way. I don't really care. You know? I ain't gonna hate on him. I don't like him because I think he kind of weird. You know? I don't really like for Jake Paul, but I can't hate on him. He's making money. I wish I was making the money he's making a fight. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just wanted to address that. This video is much longer than I expected, but I just feel like when I see people talk about these fights sometime, or when I hear people talk about these fights, it just be like, yo, I think people missing the big picture here. You know, it's just like we can still, as boxing fans, love what we love. But there's a place for that too. But there's always been a place for that. It's always been there. But Jake Paul is capitalizing on it more better than everybody else that's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Can't hate on him. I mean, his argument of fighting Anderson Silva and Tyron Woodley within his first professional fight is still better than some of the other fighters that came out as amateurs, star amateurs, went pro, fought cab drivers that were worse than that. That was my point that I made with Tommy Fury right before the fight. I said, Tommy Fury fought worse fighters in his first 4 or 5 professional fights than Jake Paul. And that's why Jake Paul, even though Tommy had more experience because he's coming from a boxing family, he was a better amateur. His resume wasn't showing it. He showed it on the night of the fight that he was the better boxer and he was the more experienced fighter. All right. But if they are going to have a rematch, Jake Paul obviously needs to work on more things. Tommy Fury, just the jab alone. Just the jab alone, he could have won this fight almost just using the jab. His jab was flawless in this fight. Now, it might have been that good against another really good pro fighter, you know. But for what we got, it was good. He outclassed him, you know. Still a close fight, but he was definitely the better technical fighter between the two. As he should be. And some people will say, like, hey, Tommy did exactly what he was supposed to do. Some people are going to be critical of him and say, not for nothing, but the fight was closer than it needed to be, being that Tommy is a Fury and he is a pro boxer. And he has an amateur background. For that fight to be that close against a non-boxer, Tommy failed. Some people are going to come with that angle. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. And if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Please smash the like button, share the video, and all that good stuff. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.